Welcome home, neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland, New York, New Jersey,
Indianapolis,
California,
Utah,
Michigan,
Iowa,
Massachusetts,
Georgia, Canada,
our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesian,
State Lake Tahoe,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Hilton Head, Boulder Ridge, Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club,
and Wilderness Lodge.
and you're listening to
and you're listening
You're listening to my
DVC
Points.
Well, welcome home, everybody, to another Sunday in My DVC Points Live. We have a special show lined up for you tonight. And before we jump into that, I want to do a little bit of an announcement. I've been working pretty hard this weekend and just bouncing around this idea of the parks are closed and everybody has got this social restriction and social distancing thing going on. But the one really cool thing is about those of us who stream and build our communities through live streaming is we can still continue building our live stream. You can be socially distanced from us and still do this. So I've started reaching out to some of my other friends in the Disney community who podcast and stream, and we're going to try to put together every single night at some point in time. It won't always be 9 o'clock. It'll be based on the various different shows, but we're going to start cross promoting our other streamers and doing a baton transfer. And so in this week, tomorrow night, I'm going to be passing the baton over to my good friend, Chris Salata. Hey, Chris, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Chad. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I am doing awesome. And I was just telling everybody about the Stream-A-Thon. So I wanted to bring you onto the show right at the beginning and do a little bit of an intro and say, I'm looking forward to joining your show tomorrow night, probably in the audience, but we'll be over there at the Discovering Disney podcast and kicking this thing off for day 2 of park closures and day 2 of the Stream-A-Thon.
I'm really looking forward to this. I know when you first came to me for this particular idea, I just thought it was really, really cool. I mean, collaboration between podcasters is something that's been going on for quite some time. And to be able to do this and bring some magic into everybody's homes every night this week, I really think it's going to at least help fill in some of the void, provide some extra magic for people. And let's face it, it's going to be a great time. And I'm really glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well, Chris. I really am. So thank you for joining the show tonight. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. And I'll be sharing out your post on the My DVC Points page. And we'll keep this up going forward.
Sounds like a plan. See you tomorrow night.
Thank you, Chris. So, okay, then. Moving back on, I'd like to also introduce a brand new person to the show tonight. And we've got Gina joining us. Hey, Gina, how you doing?
Great.
And everybody, Gina has decided to join the My DVC Points live team as our new producer director. So she'll be writing our show content for us each week. So if you want to send Gina your ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Gina, last name on Facebook?
Grotsky, Grotsky.
Great. And so she'll be doing a lot of the behind the scenes stuff tonight. And she's also going to be controlling what goes on the camera. So we're looking forward to that as well, so that we can focus a little bit more, because I don't know if you've ever done a live stream. It's a lot to keep up with all the comments that coming back in and camera views and dropping people and adding people. So thanks so much for joining us, Gina. And we look forward to seeing more of your work, and you'll join us on camera one of these days.
Yes, let me get this going first, but for sure. All right. Thanks.
Awesome. So thanks so much. And I'd like to welcome back again to the show our longtime regular co-host,
Hi.
Shannon.
Hey.
So,
It's been a while.
It has been forever and a day. So
yeah.
It has just been forever and a day. So I'd like to welcome you back to the show.
Thanks
and
so much.
We've got an upcoming segment with you on Marvel Day at Sea. So I'm looking forward to that.
Hence
and then
the ears.
Yep. Hence the ears tonight. And so let's just go ahead and show everybody who's the ears from tonight.
Labounite. I don't know. That's her website. She used to be on Etsy, but she now has her own website. So I actually have a couple pairs of ears. These were a last minute addition just for Marvel Day. She rushed them and got them out to me. I think the Saturday we left out on Monday. So she got them out to me pretty fast, and they were pretty much a hit on the cruise. So, which is fun.
Oh, they look awesome. So yeah. So thanks so much for joining her. And we like to give her a great shout out for creating some great ears. We just do this to give a shout out to some of the Etsy creators.
Especially right now with everything going on, we got to support those small shops.
Yep. And even if she's moved off of Etsy, good for her. I know a lot of people have. They recently started upping their fees and making them pay for part of their ads and all kinds of other stuff. So a bunch of people have pulled off of Etsy.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's awesome. So let's come back in and we will add tonight countdown shares. Well, let me come back in and get our other co-hosts tonight. So tonight, Ken Booth is joining us. And hey, Ken, how you doing tonight?
Hey, good. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Good.
And for those of you who don't know, Ken's going to be joining the show a little bit more often. He's our app developer. So when we get into the app tonight, right here, he's the genius right there. So all of my pain in the tail wishes and everything that I asked for and like, Ken, but this would be really cool. Watch him cringe every time he hears me say that, right? So anyways, Ken's going to be joining us tonight and we'll come back into that. So the big question is, when is everybody's countdown? Okay. And has this new Disney park deal started to come back in and impact your closing? Yeah. Or does it impact your next trip home? So right now I'm going back in May 27th is when I'm supposed to be going. And I have a feeling that even though they say the parks will be open, it could be dicey if we're going to be open by then or not. I'm hoping, but I don't know. So
we're set to go April 21st. Now it's just a day trip. We got a miraculous wait list for Copper Creek Studio, and we're going to go to Moonlight Magic and Magic Kingdom. I'm not hopeful. It's just a day trip, so it's not a big deal. It's not like this is a vacation we've been planning for 11 months, but it's still unfortunate. And then we were also set to go May 18th. So if you don't know already, I'm Mrs. Florida. I give up my title May 17th. And we were going to extend it a day and go to Hollywood Studios that day and go to the new Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which again, I think that one, maybe I'm a little bit more hopeful for May 18th, but I for the Moonlight Magic, I'm holding out hope, but I'm realistically, not optimistic at this point.
Wait, do you get to hold on to your title longer? Since, like, if you guys can't get together for you to relinquish the title, do you get to hold on to it?
Actually, there was about 3 state pageants this past weekend, and they're all coming up, and they're all been postponed. So I know Utah was supposed to be this coming weekend, and it's been postponed to May. So yeah, I feel for the contestants, because when you're preparing and you're ready to go, it's hard to just stop. So right now the pageant's set for, like I said, May 17th in Orlando, but I think everything's kind of up in the air at this point.
I mean, isn't it supposed to go, you won the Miss America deal or Mrs. Florida deal? Where are you going next? Well,
I mean, I think it's just a matter of kind of, they have the pageant for the next contest for the next year, and then it's they honor you as far as being the title holder. So I definitely want to be able to give up my title, because it's fun being the queen and not having to compete, because you don't have to worry about wearing a swimsuit and you can just kind of relax and have fun.
A little carbs, okay?
And eat. I was just gonna say, and eat, and they're actually having a really nice charity ball the night before, so at the Westgate for the Victoria's Voice Foundation. So they're having a big gala, which is nice. So I really hope it still can go through, but again, with everything going on, I think it would be great if everything's wrapped up by then, but at the same time, there's other things that are more important, so we'll see.
Got it. Ken, when are you going home next?
Well, as you know, I actually just got back from a trip and tapped out all my points. So we're looking at 2021, just because I'd like to be there for the 50th anniversary. And I believe we're hoping for after Tron arrives. So once I know like the opening date, we'll probably start planning. But yeah, currently I actually have anything on the books, especially since it's such a a giant trip for us to get out there. We can't really take any quick trips home or anything like that. So who knows? Maybe in the future I'll get some Grand California points off of the resale market so that we can take advantage of some last minute flight deals. But yeah, currently just because it literally takes 2 days to get to Florida. Yeah, we usually leave the night before and arrive in Florida later in the evening. So yeah, it's just it takes a lot of planning. There's no last minute plan. So yeah, right now I'm just waiting, unfortunately.
Got it. Okay, well, let's go to some of the listener comments now and see when everybody who's listening is going home. So I think we saw John is going home in 202 days. So he's out there with you for a long time. And then Michelle's going home 52 days. And then Brandy makes a comment here, 425, and she's praying that it's open because she has so much planned.
And I'm assuming, Brandy, you're probably, I would assume you're probably set to go to the Moonlight Magic on 428. So, we're going the week before. And I see that there's several people that have canceling their trips. So that with the closure just for March. I mean, that's spring break. Spring break for us, South Florida, is next week. And I know friends that are canceling their trips. So, and the cruises, it's just really unfortunate. But I don't know. April 25th is kind of pushing it. 307 days. Yeah, there we go.
307 for Scott. So he shouldn't be impacted too much by then. 265 for Holly. And is this Starks called? I had to stay at Saratoga in a 2-bedroom, March 30th to April 5th. Ouch. That's down for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, the resorts are still open. We have a stay scheduled in July. That's our typical staycation. We sometimes pop into the parks if we can, but it's our staycation at Beach Club. So we would still go if the resorts were open. We would.
Beach Club would be a great place to do a staycation.
Yeah. So
because of the pool. Yeah.
But absolutely. I hope by July everything's done by then.
Yeah, that's true. And Grant saying that his countdown was 2 weeks to Disneyland, but he had to cancel this weekend and now hoping for May 15th.
May 15th is could be pushing it because they're talking now 8 weeks. I don't know. I mean, I think you'd be right there. You might be right there when it reopens. Yeah,
California just did this whole no more than 50 people ban, right? For
something weeks. I saw it right before we got on, so I really didn't even read the article, but it's something. But and I don't know. With everything that happened in the last 2 days with the college program and the international entertainment, I'm nervous as far as Walt Disney World. So
got it.
But there's more important things to worry about.
Yeah, and Rob is hoping for Disneyland summer 2021. Well, we're all going to be hurting if it's that late by then, okay?
Yeah.
And so looking at this as well, we've got Steven saying was headed down on Tuesday, but it's now back to 79 days. So it's another impacted person. 105 days for Marianne.
So for those of you that have switched, were you and leave it in the comments, did you guys have, I know that the member services, the phone lines were really long, but did you feel like they worked with you? Are you losing points? Were you penalized? Tell us about that, because I think that's what a lot of people want to know about. I mean, we do know that they're not putting points in holding, which is fantastic. But if points were from 2018, I know a lot of people did lose their points and couldn't reschedule. So let us know that if you were able to reschedule your trips and you're saying that you were supposed to go, but you've now rescheduled, let us know if that was if you were able to reschedule without penalty.
Yeah, that's a great segue to our next topic, which is this new cancellation policy that's out there.
Right.
So what's going on with, you guys, and what was your experience like when you did this? Because I know when I heard from Andrew as late as Thursday night at about 8:30, member services was still telling him, sorry, you cancel. They go into a holding account. Standard rules apply.
Wow.
And then Friday morning, the email pops up, right before opening saying, well, we're going to do the right thing and no holding accounts apply. So we're going to take the points out of holding. And I'm wondering if anybody did cancel, got into holding, and then had that reversed automatically, or did you have to call in for it? But I can say I'm really proud that DVC did the right thing here and started allowing us to cancel because the parks are canceled. I mean, you hear about resort only stays, but in all honesty, you don't pay that amount of points and price to not be there going to the parks. So that was a really cool policy that they did. And I think there's going to be a long-term impact on that, because we will be in this situation later where we're going to have 2 months, 3 months worth of points. That's a quarter of a year.
Yeah.
So a quarter of the amount of points, if this hits 3 months, will be out there, and they'll just not be, we'll still have 25% of everybody's points for this year to use and crammed into 3 quarters.
At some point, there's just not going to be enough rooms.
Or bank them, or there'll be a room shortage. Okay.
Yeah.
So while I think it's the right thing to do, and I'm very, very proud they did it, I think sooner or later we'll have to do that.
Yeah. I know I told Ray, because our home resort is Saratoga, and we have yet to stay there. We always have a long trip in December, and we always switch at 7 months. And we actually have a 4-day trip in October, which we were able to switch to Old Key West. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're going to be at Saratoga in December, because trying to switch at 7 months with all this going on, that I think is going to be very difficult, because I think it's going to be very difficult to get anything else.
Got it. Okay. So I think it's going to be that. I think this is now your time, Shannon, to actually stay at your home resort.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, the renovations, the refurbs are gone. They're done, and they look beautiful. So I have no aversion to Saratoga. It's just a matter of, let's see what we can get when we can get it. And then there'll be a time where we won't be able to get anything else. I think this might be that time.
It could be.
So,
it could be coming here, right?
Yeah.
Could be coming here. And Stark Scald says, was trying to figure out what's the best way to reschedule. I dread the wait times on the phone. I might try to email to do it. And yeah, you're going to have a long time in queue if you go to call. So you might get the web chat to work, although typically when the queue's back down, they don't have web chat up. So I just try to do it yourself online if you could, would be my deal. And
yeah, I would. I've seen a lot of people doing it online because they just can't sit there and wait for 4 hours and saying it worked out. I would just do a lot of screenshots when you're doing it. But yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And Mary comments here that Disney is going to work with people, and I'm really glad that they did. Mary, because day after day, we start getting email after email from every company under the sun who happens to have your email address somehow.
Yeah.
And about their coronavirus policy, and we're still open. Okay. And our sandwich makers make great sandwiches despite the virus. Okay, great. But so I was a little annoyed that I was getting all of these other companies and DVC wasn't coming back in. And that's the one that I personally care about the most. So.
And I think, but at the same time, they can only work with you for so much. I mean, you can't double pay points. So I know the rental side, a lot of people, we've talked about getting insurance before, but I understand like regular trip insurance doesn't cover pandemics unless it's all inclusive. So, it's really unfortunate. I know the rental companies have really been trying to work with the renters, but I know a lot of renters that are, just out their trips. So it's a really unfortunate situation all around. But if you are a renter or you're a member, just know that if you call member services or you're calling your broker, your rental broker, or whomever, they're having a bad day too, be nice.
Yeah.
Be kind.
and that's the thing. I mean, when you rent points, like DVC Rental Store, our sponsor, is one of the few people that offers that insurance.
Yes.
Okay. And I know the companies that don't have been saying, nope, sorry, or maybe we'll email the member and see if they will reschedule and work with you on this. And to me, it's just like, man, if you're renting the points out in this situation, you can't do a refund. Okay. Let's just get that right out there. Right. Because if you've rented points from me and I've got that cash has went to my dues. It's went to my cruise. It's went to my next trip. I don't have the cash anymore to give you back. Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I'm an individual member. I'm not a big corporation with a ton of cash.
And I think that's what a lot of renters that aren't familiar with DVC don't understand.
So, but that being said and done, if member services gives me the points back, I have no problems as a personal good human being saying, hey, look, let me see if I can work with you and do that. And I would encourage everybody who rents to offer that same level of freedom and flexibility. Now, it could be that they're doing bank points, in month 11 before their use year is up, and they really have no place to kick these points. Okay. So that could just be that runner is just out of luck. Okay. Which it's the reality of saving 40+% on 40 to 60% off of a rack rate. That's one of the risks you take, especially if you don't get the insurance. But
yeah, we talked about that on our hurricane show. So if you kind of go back to the podcast version of the hurricane episode, we talked about insurance and how now nobody predicted a global pandemic. Hurricanes are short-lived, but that's why insurance when you're renting is so important. So
yeah.
So
anyways, let's come back in and hit some of these other comments here. So Steven writes in and said the points had gone back into holding on Thursday night when he canceled. He couldn't get through on Friday, but was now able to do the chat with them. So, and he finishes that they move the points back, no problem.
Great.
And so now we're sitting here saying that so some people will be hesitant to travel at first. Yeah, I think if they were offered me to reschedule, I think we want to follow their advice and kind of hunker down and not travel until they say it's clear. So, and Grant says, I agree that Disney did the right thing with the changing the cancellation policy. It makes me more happy with my membership that they responded to members. And I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, they really did the right thing here, even though as a community, we'll all pay for that later, as we pointed out, with a harder availability. So, and then Amy writes, was going March 28th through 5th and trying to find a time other than Thanksgiving. Was holding out to see if anyone heard the latest time frame call.
I'm predicting at least 4 weeks, most likely 8.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. If you look at Shanghai and Hong Kong, they're still closed. So
yeah. And they've been closed.
Yeah.
And so Grant also goes, I heard some people point out that there were points were placed into holding, but since moved out of it afterwards when they called member services.
And I did hear, it might have been Andrew said that there usually takes, with the hurricane, I had the same thing. I had to cancel a trip with the hurricane and they said, oh, those points will be moved from holding within 2 days. They are saying because of this and the scope of it, it is taking up to a week to get those points moved. So they're basically going through the list. I guess if you call, you kind of move up. But my points were eventually moved from holding into the regular use year. But they are saying, I think that they automatically are doing it, but there's just a backlog. So it's taking up to a week.
Yeah, I could imagine that as well. So,
yeah. And if you want to rebook, it's hard. So you want to rebook before everything else gets booked up. So I think at some point you just got to sit down and get on the phone. But hopefully the phone lines will start to loosen up.
Yeah. Mary comments here as well. She goes, we knew what we bought, and I think it was great that they had changed the policy. I think overall it's bad PR if they choose not to help people out. It is spring break and the highest point season out there. You've got more points on the line during this time than any time during the year. So, yeah. And then,
it's crazy.
Yeah. Scott points out Disney has the greatest customer service. Just be patient with them since they're getting bombarded with calls as well. And then Cindy brings up what you just saw right before we came back in. Guys, you saw the CDC announcement to limit gatherings over 50 for the next 8 weeks. So, yeah, I think guys, streaming and virtual queues and watching from your phone or YouTube or at home is going to be the way we're going to connect as a community for a while, which is why I really wanted to kick up the streaming game. Right.
Yep.
And Mary points out there are so many things that will have to be sorted out because this is so unprecedented. And I agree with you as well. And shifting gears to our next topic here. So not only did they change the DVC policy for Corona cancellations, while the parks are closed, they also did something really cool by allowing us to extend out the annual passes. So, and I'm wondering how many people have annual passes, and are you excited about this? Do you think this was the right thing to do? I think it was above and beyond as well, because I wouldn't go into the parks up until May anyways. Okay. So I wasn't really going to use my annual pass. So for them to extend it for me is just bonus time because I wasn't going to be there. Okay. But I imagine if you're a local or you were planning on being there, it's probably just easier for them to extend it for everybody than to come back in and figure out who was going to use it and who wasn't. But I think that was a really neat policy as well, and above and beyond my expectations. When I did that, I was like, ooh, my pass expires mid-September. And I looked at it and was like going, well, I want to go again in October. Maybe they'll extend it enough that I won't have to renew and can sneak that October trip on there.
I think you're going to get that lucky, Chad.
I don't know if that's lucky or unlucky, right?
Well, yeah, all things considered, but I think that it will end up getting extended. Yeah,
I think so as well. And
I say that happened to us similar. I had a local with the hurricane, one of a local animal park that we had annual passes to, and it got destroyed during Irma and was closed for several months, and they did the same thing. So I think it doesn't benefit me. Our passes expired in December and we haven't gotten new ones. So it doesn't really benefit me, but I think it's the right thing to do. And I think it definitely affects locals who go to the parks quite a bit. So.
Yeah. And Marianne agrees with us here. She says, I hope that you don't get that lucky. And I hope so too, for everybody's sake.
Yeah.
And Mike was saying that ours expires at the end of May. If we benefit from this, then it has gotten super bad in his opinion. And our next trip is at the end of June. And Mike, that could be the case, right? That could be what we're seeing and what's going on there.
Yeah.
We hope it's not. And then Jennifer comments, I was pleasantly surprised by the AP extension. It will help us if we need to push our summer trip. Okay. And I don't know how to read this one, Marianne. If it's I'm testifying, if it's a high five, if it's what. So
I think she's raising her hand.
Yeah, go ahead. So Marianne, if you want to join us, you can do the mydvcpoints.com/join live and pop in and ask that question if you want. So we've got that thing set up tonight. And so, yeah, that pretty much covers the annual pass thing. I was pretty excited about it. I thought it was a good deal. I thought it was super fair and was really excited to see that happening. So the next piece of news here, and I don't know if you guys were able to tune into my live yesterday. Nick called up and said, hey, Chad, I think it'd be a really good idea if we get together a live just to set some expectations and look at, we don't have an exact comparable, but we can tell you what happened to DVC after the 9/11 incident cleared out. And what happened was DVC went down and the market got soft and it became a buyer's market. But then afterwards, it was a transition time and everybody didn't want to do international travel anymore. So domestic travel was really, really the thing to do. And DVC took off and skyrocketed. So he goes, if that's any indication of what's going to happen here, we could start to see the market soften up, become a great time to be a buyer. And afterwards, we'll see it start to take off again as well. So a neat little episode yesterday. If you want to go back in and check that out, you can hear straight from Nick in his 20-year analysis kind of a deal.
I watched it later. I didn't get to watch it live. I did watch it late last night and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I was curious and Nick is so knowledgeable about DVC, just both from direct and resale. So it was really fascinating to hear what potentially could happen. So
yeah. Yep. So that was a really good thing. So, and then our next topic of the night is your trip report, Shannon. So,
okay. That was fast.
Yeah.
So yeah, we don't have any pictures. If you find me on my DVC points, the community, just go to my personal page. The album is public, so you can see all my professional photos. I haven't uploaded our personal photos yet, but I did get the all digital package, and we ended up with 198 photos. So we got our money's worth. But yeah, I mean, we left on February 24th, which was a Monday, and it was a 5-night cruise. Got back on a Saturday. Our ports were Key West, Castaway Key, and Nassau. We only got off at Castaway Key. Marvel Day was the first day. It was the only sea day, which was our first day. It's a long day. It was awesome. It was just incredible. And I did start a vlog. So I do have my own YouTube channel that I've kind of toying around with, but the cruise kind of motivated me to vlog a little bit for the cruise. So I did just day 1 and day 2 are posted. So day 2, which is the Marvel Day at Sea, was posted on Wednesday. So if you want, I'll post the link to that later on.
Now, during this time, Shannon, was that when the Japan ship was stranded offshore?
Yes, the Japan ship was February 5th was the day, and we left 3 weeks later. So we left, or yeah, more or less. I think it was February 2nd, and then was the day it docked, and so it was about 2.5, 3 weeks later, and there was some extra screening. We had gotten notices and emails saying if you had visited these countries, and then within the last 14 days, and then also Nassau had upped theirs to 20 days where they weren't going to let you into Nassau. So everybody kind of knew what was going on. They did scan our passport and looked through every page to make sure there was no stamps, but there was no temperature scanning. There wasn't that concern yet. It was kind of, I won't say a joke, but it was kind of like, I'm still going on my cruise. It hadn't really hit the U.S.
Yeah.
yet.
Okay. So I was just wondering what the feel was like there.
The feel was very confident. We felt that this was still in overseas. This was still in Asia. The crew now were on top of it. Cabanas. So for anybody that's ever been on a Disney cruise, there's cabanas and there's two sides of the buffet essentially, and each side has its own hand washing station. And there was times where I would go and I'd walk up, I'd wash my hands, and then they say, oh, this side's closed, you need to go to the other side. So I'd walk around to the other side, and they're like, you need to wash your hands. I'm like, I just washed your hands. They're like, you need to wash your hands. So I washed my hands again because they didn't see me wash my hands. So they were making sure everybody was washing their hands. And then it was the hand sanitizer, and then it was the wipes. So my son, they have an automatic hand washer at the kids club, which is really cool, but my son was terrified of it. So they let him use sanitizing wipes. So we would always wash his hands before we got there. But they were on top of it, but there wasn't that fear yet. The fear, I want to say, started probably within a week of coming back, where it was like, oh, now it's in the US and now it's starting to expand. And now it's it's in a cruise ship in California. So that was pretty interesting. But yeah, and actually we had a Facebook group of everybody that was on the cruise. So it was 2 weeks ago on yesterday, that we had gotten back, and they say that incubation period is 14 days. So somebody posted, hey, how's everybody feeling? We're all like, oh, we're all good here. So we're all good. I think it's nice. I'm so thankful that we got to go on our cruise because we were so looking forward to it. My heart breaks for families that have been planning, and then especially the ones that were leaving on Saturday and just didn't get to go. I know the Magic came back. They actually had their last Marvel Day at Sea last week, and it came back on Saturday. So they finished up that, but this is spring break, and we almost booked during spring break, but the prices were so much more expensive, and we wanted to do Marvel Day. So we booked earlier. So we lucked out in that regard. But I did book a placeholder. So we will be cruising again within the next 2 years. But I will say I felt safe on the ship. I felt like Disney they were cleaning extra, and they're always cleaning. And I think that's Disney.
What everybody tells me.
I was going to ask that. Yeah, because I've actually never been on a cruise. But so is Disney just known for being like the hand washing thing? Is that typical, or that was just because of this?
We only compare it to Royal Caribbean, and Royal Caribbean, I will say, it has the same policy, but I will say the crew was more on top of it. Where Royal Caribbean, if I had told them, oh, I just washed my hands, they probably would have let me go. Now this is not in coronavirus, era.
Frame, so.
Right, exactly.
Right.
But
your mileage could vary now.
Exactly. So, but they were always on top of it. I never felt, that they weren't cleanly on the ship. And again, I don't think the Princess ships, I think it was very unfortunate. I think Princess is a good line. It was just the clientele is an older clientele. That cruise ship was in Asia, and one person got on that ship and was sick. And
that's the problem.
That's what happened. It just takes one person. And when you're in a confined space, this thing we know is just spreading like wildfire if it's in that confined space. So I think it's unfortunate for Princess, but going back to the Marvel and kind of ending on a positive note, I highly recommend Disney Cruise Line. It was definitely our first Disney cruise was when my son turned 1 on the Disney Dream for 3 nights, and we were left a little underwhelmed. And I think it's because there's so much, it's kind of like the parks. There's so much to do and not enough time to do it. So I love 3-night cruises because we live in South Florida. We can get on the ship and be very convenient, but I think it's too short for a Disney cruise. So, and plus their 3-night cruises are usually on the Dream, which is 40% more people.
Yep.
So I loved the classic ship of the Magic. It's the first ship. I loved the size of it. It was very intimate. If we were all the way on the aft, I mean, our cabin was our balcony was the aft. So if we had to go to the forward, we didn't feel like it was a walk, which on Royal Caribbean ships can sometimes feel like that. It was really, really intimate. The crew were amazing. The entertainment staff, incredible. I mean, the Marvel show at night, I had seen it on YouTube, so much better in person. They had fireworks 2 nights because we had for Pirate Night and for Marvel Night, but it was just great. And I mean, and the interesting thing is that the face characters, because you see the face characters several times, they get to know you. So they would see my son, and I remember walking and Captain Marvel and the Marvel characters, while there is that one day, they actually come out and just kind of roam the halls. I remember seeing them 2 or 3 times throughout the ship, throughout the cruise. So especially the last day, they were all out around between the 2 dinners, all the Marvel characters were out just kind of roaming and taking pictures, not professional photos, but with cameras and just kind of interacting. And I remember Captain Marvel coming up and going, "Hey, Ryder, what's up?" and giving him a fist pump. And like that doesn't happen in the parks because they don't see you. Right. So the characters knew my son and like, "Hey, Ryder," and Spider-Man, which my son, if you saw my Instagram, had several amazing interactions with Spider-Man. He saw my husband and he goes, "Hey, where's Ryder? I need to see Ryder before you guys get off tomorrow." So that was just incredible. So it's definitely special, and it's a different experience than the parks. Again, I still love Royal Caribbean. We're going on a Royal Caribbean ship next year. It's just a different experience, but Disney Cruise Line definitely wins out and just across the board.
Got it. So do you prefer the bigger ship or the smaller ship then?
For Disney, we prefer the classic ship, but for Royal Caribbean, we like the Oasis class, which is their largest ship. So, but again, different experiences, different type of experience. Yeah.
Got it. And Lorraine comments here that our first Disney cruise was supposed to be May 8th. And it took so long to finally book that I'm hopeful, but I know it's not looking too good. And yeah, I don't think May 8th would be happening for a cruise ship there either. But mine is August 10th. And I'm hoping that happens as well. We'll have to see what goes on then. Mm-hmm. And, I've got a whole Hilton Head, Vero, Animal Kingdom value room before the cruise.
Those value rooms are so hard to give up.
Yeah. I know you had to give one up as well. Mm-hmm. And yep. So, and Grant was saying that they did a Star Wars at Sea cruise in February. And they had an excellent time, and the staff are excellent and diligent. I've heard nothing but awesome things about Disney Cruise Line.
And I will say I'm interested in and then first of all, I'm not a Marvel person. The last Marvel movie I saw was Iron Man, the first one. That's it. I haven't seen any more. I know the characters, but that's it. But I still enjoyed it. So I probably like Star Wars more, and I'm interested to see what the Star Wars day at sea would be like, and that's a 7-night cruise. So
I've heard good things about those. So then. So let's move on as well and start doing our final topic tonight. And this will be like the world premiere of the My DVC Points app. We've leaked out a couple of photos inside the group on this, but we really haven't started to share the app yet. And so before we do, I want to bring in Rob into the show. Rob, how you doing tonight?
I'm great, Chad. How are you doing?
Awesome. And for those of you who don't know, Rob has been our project manager on the app. And so I've kind of been acting as the guy who puts Kenny in a lot of stress asking for things. And I ask for a lot. And Kenny's the developer. Rob was project managing this. And Shannon is one of our beta testers. So Kenny, do you want to come back in and let me bring on the app, and we'll show this up here?
Yeah. So, oh no, we still can't see it.
Let's see. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so this is just the homepage of our app. Do you want me to kind of go over all the features, Chad? Or
yeah, let's just go over the homepage, and then we'll go over Shannon's favorite feature,
Yes.
the point, stretch, and splurge.
Okay, so the homepage, this is always going to be the last calculation that you made or looked at. That'll be what you are presented with whenever you come back into the app. But you will have an option to look at all your saved vacations and you can go down the line and see all of the vacations that you've saved. But let's just go ahead and go into this one here. And
so now, whose vacation is this, Ken?
This is my, if we were going to go back in November of 2020, this would be my vacation. This is typically my family and I, we always try to go that first or second week of November. But this year we pushed our previous trip back so that we could make sure that we got to go to Rise of the Resistance. So now this would just be like a typical vacation that we would try to book. We try to make it as simple as possible and try to kind of emulate what you do on the DVC member website. So you start by picking your travel party.
And this part you can skip, but there's a neat feature that'll really come into play if you were to put that in there right. Okay.
Correct. And my family's pretty small, but let's just, pretend we're bringing a few more people with us and up it up to 7. And then we can pick our resort. Now, Copper Creek is my home resort. And you'll notice that we don't see any 1-bedrooms. And that's because on the settings page, which we'll take a look at here in a second, on the settings page, I have it to enforce the room occupancy, which means that it won't present you with options that based on the travel party information.
And we don't fit in. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
And that's really helpful for the studios because some fit 4 and some fit 5.
Exactly. Yeah, that was a very challenging part to code, but yeah, we were able to figure that out. And we do even notify you if, for example, if we take a look here at Beach Club, I'll have to reduce the size a little bit here.
Yep, there you go. If you just put it at 5, you'll get everything at Beach Club.
So we do notify you, like, for example, if it sleeps 5, but there's no bedding for the 5th person. So that's helpful information to have.
And the reason why we did this is when I was new to DVC, we have a family of 5 at my house. So myself, Laura, 3 kids. It was a heck of a learning curve figuring out what rooms we could fit in and what rooms we couldn't. Right. And so I really wanted a calculator that would come back in and help me figure this out. And Kenny and I met at Terry Weaver's The Thing conference, and he was becoming a DVC member. And I said, well, let's build a calculator. And he's like, let's do it, dude. I'm on it. And one thing led to another. And
here we are. Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to Terry and I was like, hey, I kind of want to build something in the Disney space. And he's like, talk to Chad. Like, I couldn't even finish my sentence. And he said, go meet Chad Petticuff. And from that, this was born.
Yep. So that's kind of how we did that. And then, so Rob has a neat feature as well that he really championed for. So let's say you want to switch between a studio and a 1-bedroom. Okay. Before we'd have 3 and 4 combined. And Rob just kind of was like, nope. Gotta have it.
Yep. So now we can click on it directly and change the room for the same resort without having to go back through the resort picker.
So yeah, so that's a key deal there. And you'll start to see on here that the key planning dates are all of this that's up here for your 11-month window, your 7-month window, your 180 days. And that will all reflect back on the main screen. So if you click My DVC Points up at the top, the logo, it goes to the home screen and it shows you all of the little countdown timers there. Mm-hmm. So that's really, really cool. The other thing about the app that was just exceptionally awesome that we're really so proud of is I went to the podcast sponsors and I said, hey, we're building this app and we're half considering the idea of giving it 100% away free. Like no pay to unlocks, no pay for calendars, no pay for this, just 100% free as a gift to the community. If we did that, would you guys sponsor the app so that we could, kind of get some of our costs back and we pay Kenny something for developing this And they said, yeah, sure. So version 1 of the app, completely free to everybody, thanks to our sponsors from DVC Rental Store, DVC Resale Market, and Monera Financial. So we're just like really, really, really excited about that we can offer this cool app that is literally like cutting edge technology with the visual stuff. And yeah, absolutely free to everybody else that's doing it, simply because they agreed to, cover some of our cost of development. So that's really cool. Now let's go into Shannon's feature. Can you load back up that Copper Creek stay?
Sure. Let me go.
Actually, the studio for the beach club is fine too.
Now let's go to the Copper Creek one. So,
Okay.
Oh yeah, we'll get more options that way.
yeah. So Kenny here decides he wants that Copper Creek, and he's playing around with the calculator, and he looks at this and go back in and set it to cabins. Because 240 points, a lot of us, that's within reach on. Okay. So Kenny wants to live large and goes, okay, the cabins, right? I mean, who doesn't do this? This is real life. This is just, this is real members. Okay. So we come into this and we look at the cabins and we just start to drool. And then we go, I'll have 594 points. And so, well, what else can we get, Kenny?
So we hit the stretcher splurge, and what this will do is it'll go through and calculate all of the other options that match your dates and the room type that you picked. But you also have the ability to then have it suggest smaller rooms based on your occupancy rate.
Yeah, so this is where the powerful coding comes into it. Okay, so go ahead and hit the filters there. We'll see what we've got turned on right now. So right now we're saying enforce the occupancy limit. So if we have a party of 6 people, then we have to come back into it and it'll only show you rooms that fit your people. Okay. Yeah. We've got another filter on here that says, hey, WDW only. So only show me the resorts in Orlando, because I'm planning on going to Orlando. I don't care what the price is at Vero, Hilton Head, Alani, or Grand Cal. My family's planning on going to Orlando, which we know that happens quite often for us because that's where the majority of the points are sold. The majority of the resorts is, and DVC is just Orlando based. So we've got that little filter there. And then we've got 2 options on here that says, hey, show me larger rooms and show me smaller rooms as well. So that's what we've got going on here. And so when he hits stretch and splurge on a normal phone, it seems like it takes like a second or so for it to come out here and do all these calculations.
Yeah, on your actual device, it only takes a second because it's using all of the processing power. What you're seeing right here is just called an emulator, so it runs a tad slower. But it still goes through every resort and checks all of those calculations.
Yeah, so now you can like scroll down through there and you'll see every resort, and the default view is to put them in their order of the resorts alphabetically. So Animal Kingdom, Jambo, Kidani, Bay Lake, blah, 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 right? But if you hit that points button and change that, it now starts to come back in and shows you the highest points first, and then it starts to come back down. So if you click it again, and then scroll to the top, and we could be looking at this thing saying, okay, well, we don't have 594 points, but in this situation, we have 120 or 130 points. Okay, so we could then start to come down here and go, well, where could I stay for my 130 points? And I've got all of these options here, and we scroll down and we go, okay, well, if I could get a club level studio at Animal Kingdom, it'd be 126. But if I can probably get a studio preferred at Riviera at 7 months, and it'd be 128. Or I could go to a theme park over at Bay Lake in a studio, or I could start to splurge a little bit and move up to Grand Flow or Poly, or even go to an old Key West 1-bedroom here because we fit in it. And that's kind of some of the cool part of the app is what we're doing and what we're seeing here.
Yeah, so this is definitely, I know this was one of your favorite features as well, Chad. But yeah, this really helps you with planning because, you never know what 6 more points can get you in terms of finding a room that might be a little bit bigger or even have a better view. So yeah, it really opens up a lot of options for you. Yeah.
So that's that feature of the app. And we'll probably, come back next week and discuss some more of these. And let's see. I know a couple of people looking or been watching. So Vicky is saying that she likes the countdown clocks, and we'll come back over to this view so that we're not covering Rob up. And Mark is saying my family of 2 fits any place. I wonder if it would let me book a 3-bedroom. If you got the points, Mark, they'll take them. Trust me. Right. And Lorraine's saying that this looks great. And Grant's also one of our testers. So he goes, I've had a chance to play with the app today and it looks excellent and functioning well. We've been in the fine tuning phase for some time, and hopefully within the next week or so, we're going to get this out onto the App Store. And he says he agrees with Shannon. The stretch and splurge feature is helpful, and it really allows you to come back in and plan and wait list. And then
I used it for our October trip where I always book my home resort and just kind of looked and said, okay, where can I save? My home resort's Saratoga, so it's one of the lower priced. And I realized I could save 8 points if we switched over to Old Key West. And 8 points for just 4 nights in a studio, that's, that adds up. And I think we saved 8 points by moving to Old Key West over 8 nights in a 1-bedroom in December. So it's, not that much of a savings in December, but it's, a good savings in October. So that's what we did. At 7 months, I was able to switch to Old Key West.
Yeah, and you do that twice, and now you've got another night in a studio someplace.
Exactly.
So, and that's the beauty of this, because we realize not all the time do you just want to stretch points. There's times when you want to splurge, where you look at this and go, well, for X amount more, I could be at the Grand Flow.
Well, and then also I think sometimes you splurge and you realize when you do the splurge, you realize it's really not that much more. Sometimes it's really not. Depending on the time of year, it may not be that much more to go to a different resort. So that's always helpful too, because sometimes you think you're splurging, but it may not be that much more over the course of your trip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not that much more at all. So, and
I also like being able to display the Animal Kingdom value rooms if you own at Animal Kingdom, and take them out of the calculation if you don't own there, because if you don't own there, let's face it, you're not getting those rooms.
Yeah. So that was a great thing that I love to have out there. The standard view at Boardwalk are almost as popular, but it seems like they're a little bit more obtainable at times. So that's kind of the app and what we've got to show you guys this week. And so that's it. Rob, did you have any other comments to make, or Ken, about the app?
No, I think you guys covered it nicely. I'm looking forward to the app coming out, hopefully at the end of this week, and seeing what everybody else thinks of it.
Yeah, I think it's waiting on me to get the marketing stuff done. And with this extra work from the extra streams and Corona stuff, it's really just kind of taxed my time. So hopefully we end up getting that out here pretty fast.
We should do like a live coding session, just these last couple of changes or something like that for one of these days. But
oh my gosh, our coding session. Sometimes we do use this recording. We don't broadcast it, but sometimes we use this, and it's pretty hilarious because Kenny's just sitting here going, "No, Chad, no." And I'm sitting here sending texts to Rob going, "Bro, back me up here. Back me up. Like, we need this. We need this."
And there's nobody to champion from my side.
Yeah.
There's been some fun nights.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you to all the testers, though. Everybody that's been hitting the app hard, and it's great to hear. People are using it, they're enjoying it. So I can't wait until we get this in the hands of a lot of the DVC community.
Yep.
Yeah, and so like Amy here asked the questions. Tell me again, what do I search for to find the app? If you're an iPhone user, we hope to have it up there within 2 weeks. And so by the end of the month, if you're an Android person, we need a few days or a week or so after we get it done to get it on the Google Play Store. Okay. And you should be able to find it there as well. So we're just now like seeding the waters a little bit and building up a little anticipation and hype for it. So, and so Marianne says, sorry, I missed that last one. Hey, now I usually take your side, Kenny. So yeah. Stealing my talent here, right? So, and then Scott makes the comment that I love what I'm seeing. I can't wait for the release. You and me both, Scott. We're really looking forward to this. And right now we're in this last call to the sponsors and to the app users, to everybody saying, hey guys, if you got anything to comment on, do it now before we go live. And we're really looking forward to getting that rolled out. So, anyways, that's all I have for tonight. I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow night over at the Discovering Disney podcast. I will share the stream out to the My DVC Points page, and I'll at least be there commenting on Chris's show. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And thank you for Gina for producing tonight's show. Thanks to Shannon, Rob, Kenny, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Good night.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Yep. Stay safe from that virus.
Yeah.